Hello everyone. Welcome to the first episode of Conversation with Mayank. Today we have a Fenil Ramani in the house. Hi Fenil, how are you doing today?
I'm fine. How are you, Mayank?
Yeah, I am also good. Thanks for asking, Fenil. Uh, Fenil, just me walk through your journey a bit to the audience, and then we can start with the podcast. He got All India rank 30 in a CA finals. He also got All India rank 43 in the intermediate level. His internship was in a quite different role. So let's hear Fenil and his journey.
Yeah, thanks a lot, Mayank, for such a wonderful introduction. So, yeah, I recently qualified as a chartered accountant, and yeah, with the God's grace, I was also able to secure All India rank 30. For it, I'm grateful to my family and my mentor, CA Ravi Chaucharia. So, talking about my CA journey, there is a saying that either you marry the girl with whom you love, or you start loving the girl with whom you get married. So in my case, it was the second option. I mean, chartered accountancy was really never planned. I still remember the day, 30th June 2018, right? When I was introduced to this wonderful profession. I mean, after, enjoying the 12th vacation to its ultimate limit, one fine day I went to my 12th grade tutor, just to discuss what are the future options available, right? And what to do next. So, I mean, yeah, initial plan was to, really enjoy the college life to the fullest and then start a business with with my father. But my tutor suggested that, that you should try chartered accountancy just as a trial and error. If it works out, it will do wonders to your career. Otherwise, there is always the first option. So, I mean, just on his saying, I registered for the foundation exam, and I still remember it was the last day, 30th
Oh,
June, when I met. And I mean, just on his saying, I just registered for the foundation exam without even proper further planning or consulting with others. I mean, it was a pure luck factor for me, particularly. So that was how my CA journey actually started in the initial days. And then, yeah, again came the intermediate. Same thing, right? I mean, 4 months again went up like, I was not regular in the classes as CA was the second option. So yeah, intermediate again started with the same, as how the foundation started. And yeah, again, I mean, it was one fine day that I was in the class and my tutor, CA Ravi sir, shared one of the experiences of how even the brilliant and the scholar students, just because of the lack of seriousness, uh, failed the intermediate exam and ended up giving attempt. So that was the day I came to know about the attempt things, right, in the CA. So the next day, I mean, it hit me really hard. I mean, the next day I just decided that I don't want to, trouble my life out. Now that I have chosen this profession, I need to get it done anyhow and without, troubling my life out. So the next day, I mean, I started, sitting on the first bench, started being regular in the class. And also, I mean, followed my tutor and my studies
got it.
very religiously from that period. And from that on, I mean, from that day onwards, I mean, the journey has went really well. So yeah, I mean, and the work that I'd put on in the 5 months period, right after that day of really kicking, really that day, I mean, it just opened up my mind, and from that day, I mean, the life has and the journey has really went awesome for me. The hard work that I put on during those 5 months rewarded me with all India rank 43rd, which was never expected even in my wildest dream. But just there was the thing that I want to clear this exam with the good marks possible.
So you
And that,
started with a journey like based on a luck, or maybe you are registered on the last day of a CA foundation, and still like you are saying, particularly luck factor is involved. But yeah, your dedication and hard work has paid off too. Like you got a bang on a rank in a all India rank at the intermediate level as well as in a finals level. So like, is it you might have a success mantra maybe? So you got ranks in the both of the exams. So any of the like success mantra, or like any of the a different or unique thing that you have done while preparing for your exams?
yeah, I mean, scoring rank back to back is obviously a great feat to have, right? But yeah, as far as the mantra is concerned, personally, I think two things really work well for me. First, I mean the inspiration from my mentor. I really used to get too much influenced by my mentors here, Ravi Chaucharia. And second thing is obviously discipline is something that I mean every CA student need to have, right, in order to score well in their exam. So
Yeah,
I
yeah.
just tried to keep every type of a distraction away from me. I was off the social media from the day I told you that I started getting serious about my studies. So from that day till my final exam, it is almost, I mean, about 3.5 years that I was off the social media. And also, I mean, other things, I would just try to get away from the all type of a distraction. So these two things really work well for me. And apart from this, yeah, obviously smart study is something that one really needs to work on. Just learning or rectifying the things really don't work. I mean, particularly for the CA final exams where the syllabus is such a humongous. So these are some of the things can work
Perfect,
well.
perfect, Fenil. So discipline thing, like I totally agree with. Like when I was also studying the CA curriculum, so even I know like people have a Facebook accounts or maybe Insta accounts or like they have usually chats on a WhatsApp. But yeah, I like I came on a WhatsApp even like after I became a CA. So like when my CA results were declared, then only I started my account on a WhatsApp. So yeah, discipline is one thing that I can also vouch for this course. So, like now you have cleared your CA course. So again with the ranks, so you have a like a full of excitement and a joy that is okay, but you have also a responsibility that you are carrying, maybe from a your mentor's point of view, or maybe from a family point perspective, or it might be from your own. Like the clearing a exam is on one side, but like how you are planning forward to take this journey a more beautiful way.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, passing the exam with such a good numbers and with a grade is obviously a great feeling. I mean, it is by far the most proud feeling that I have, right? But yeah, I mean, my article was there in every newspaper of my city. My family was also there in my newspaper. So yeah, it feels really proud, but at the same time, as you said, that with success comes the greater responsibilities, greater expectations. So yeah, I mean, there is also a new door opening for you that you really need to work on, and you know, I mean, work on your expectations and try to give your best in the challenges lying ahead. So rightly said, yeah, with greater result comes even more greater responsibilities. Yeah.
Right, perfect. Totally agreed. So, like, just a follow-up question on this. So, like, you when you got a rank in a IPCC or intermediate level, so again there would be a kind of a societal pressure. Okay, like when there's a got a rank in intermediate, so people were thinking or like have a mindset that he will be going to ace a final exam. He will going to again come in all India ranks. So how your papers was went, like what was your expectation when you came out of your exam hall? Is that any possibility like you were predicting like, okay, I will get a all India rank, maybe it can be in a top 10, maybe it can be a bottom 10, but I will get a rank? So is that any expectation when you came out of your last exam, or like?
Rightly said. I mean, if you get rank in intermediate, it is by natural. The people expect a rank again from you in final. So yeah, I mean, at the exam day, I still remember that instead of asking whether you got passed or failed, people used to ask, "What is your rank this time?" Right? Just tell us what is the rank. I mean, the expectation was that too much high. So obviously, it creates a pressure, but yeah, at the same time. I mean, having a rank in intermediate gives you that confidence needed to, again, target or aim high for the rank in the CA final. So, to be really honest, I mean, during the first 5 months of my self study, I mean, last period of your self study, I was expecting or I was targeting top five rank. But yeah, I mean, I always believe that, if you aim really high, then I mean you end up, I mean, more on a safer side to be on a really good end, right? So I was expecting top five, I was also preparing really extreme for that achievement also. But yeah, it was just until the last month before the exam and that 16 days that the things don't went well. Uh, the last month before the exam, I had went to the doctor 8 times, right? Out of 30 days. I was facing some really harsh health issues rank. But yeah, again, I would say that the efforts that and the level of dedication that I put in first 5 months really helped me to even score AR 30. And for me it is no less than AR 1, because I only know the level of you know stress and anxiety that had came with my health issues. And during the exam times, going going through from those phase and still scoring a all India rank is something I'm really proud of still.
Yes, yes, absolutely, Fana. So, if we want to include what can be a mool mantra to came into a rank or maybe to pass the exam in a first attempt. So, like first, as you mentioned, a discipline. It might be your constant studies, like over 5 months you were studying, and again, like I would say, like maintaining a proper health, having a proper diet is also a bit more important for CA students. Like the exams goes on continuously for 16 days, like 8 exams spanning over 16 days. So like it creates a bit pressure. So like you need to have a healthy food before like while we are preparing and like even during the exams. Yeah. So
Yeah,
like
exactly. 6 months is a pretty long time, right? And you don't want to get ill, or you need to worry about your I mean, immunity during that period. So it is really important to have a healthy lifestyle. I was prone to the climate change allergy. Whenever there used to be a change in climate, my brain used to get heavier and my nose started sneezing. And at the same time, I had the habit of, reading things by speaking, right? By speaking things aloud. So, one fine day, it was just the beginning of the last revision. 2nd April, and I was too excited for the last revision. I just wanted to I just don't want to left any stone left unturned, and I just picked up my DT subject, started with 2 to 3 of very technical chapters, started reading it loud for consecutive 6 to 7 hours, and then my throat get affected. The throat was started paining, and it started getting dry. And above that, at night I also had a cold Kit Kat shake after that. So after so that really hit hard on my throat. And so there was also delay in diagnosis, particularly that really created trouble during my last month. So yeah, obviously, any type of a health issue is really disastrous, right, during that
yes,
time. So it is always advisable that you just have the best diagnosis with the best doctor as soon as possible.
yeah,
So
totally,
it's
totally agree. Uh, One quick question on again a CA final. So you got 91 marks in an elective subject, global GFRS. So what was the motivation for like on the first note to take a GFRS? Like generally people either take a taxation subject or it might be financial securities. So what was your motivation? Like what in the fifth or sixth exam, fifth exam is for a DT. So if you are taking a sixth exam again for a taxation loss, so that will help you. Like you can easily revise. So what like the first exam is FR and then a sixth exam you have to GFRS. So like what was the motivation behind taking this elective?
Yeah, GFRS proved a lottery to me, particularly. It was the subject that had really pushed my rank to All India rank 30. So, yeah, see, GFRS is a subject if you are really confident on your grip in first paper FR, then GFR is almost a cakewalk for you, right? You just have a 45 questions case study digest that you need to prepare, that you need to solve. And just there is nothing additional that you need to go through. There is a really less weighted carve in carve outs between Indias and IFRS
Yes,
that you just need to cover additionally. Apart from that, there is nothing additional that you need to really prepare for, right? And my logic behind choosing GFRS was that, see, I was obviously appearing for the both groups. So the first paper is FR, right? So for FR, normally we used to give 4 to 5 days of a preparation for it, and
Yes.
during that time, I think we can cover the subject very deeply and perfectly. So I mean, after that, when you have your paper six, I mean, the concepts are all already cleared in your mind, and you have also practiced the sums pretty well, right? As you are giving 5 to 6 days to the paper one. So it really, I mean, then it really becomes easy to, if you are really confident on your FR concepts, then it is just another similar paper that you need to tackle. And with
Got it.
books having besides you also need not trouble about any core provision if it is tested. So I mean, if you are appearing for both the groups and you are really confident on your FR concepts, GFRS is really a good subject. And at the same time, being it a practical subject, there is also less scope of marks cutting, because unlike theory, here in practical, if you are writing the number or last answer figure, you will be getting full answers. So that was the only reason that I opted for GFRS, and obviously it was a risk, but I mean it paid well.
Great, great. Like it actually pushed your rank. Like 91 marks is like getting into 90s is like a next to impossible thing. Like in a like a body like a ICI actually. So
Yeah, yeah, exactly.
so like you got your five exemptions, especially like mostly in a theoretical subjects. Like your cost accounting is now getting a more case study base. Then comes your direct or indirect. Like although it is a practical, but it also requires you to have a deep knowledge of a theoretical provisions that the law has. And then again, GFRS so is a practical subject. So, what is your take on theoretical subjects versus practical subjects? Like, if a person who is aiming a rank, can theoretical subjects, like there's a herd mentality or a preconceived notion, like a theoretical subject, like you can't score a good marks. However, you proved it wrong. So, like, what is the advice, or like how you can say like theoretical subjects can also improve your ranks chances in comparison to the practical as well?
Yeah, you rightly said that it is a herd mentality, that theory is not a really scoring subject. But
Yeah.
personally, for me, theory subjects have always been more scorer than the practical subjects. I mean, even in my intermediate, I had scored 78 in my EIS ISM
Okay.
subject, 78 again in audit, and 75 in corporate law. So yeah, I mean, I was always prepared that theory subject are the ones which can even cross your marks to next level, or it can fall you really hard. So I mean, from the very beginning, I used to prepare theory very religiously. I mean, I used to allot the morning time to theory subject. I had built that routine of learning theory for almost 5 to 6 hours daily in morning. So I used to give a lot of weightage to theory subjects. I mean, it is because it requires a lot of revisions, and at the same time also getting that familiarity of retaining things. So theory subjects, I mean, you need to manage it really well. You need to give it frequent revision, and it is something that if not revised before 1.5 days before the exam can cause you a lot of trouble. So even if you end up mismanaging things during the exam days, so I mean, for practicals it is still manageable, but for theory, I mean, it is, you need to get really planned for
Yeah.
it, right? And here it is not like that, it is not scoring. I mean, personally, audit was the subject for me in final that I had expected the lowest mark in group one, but I mean, it ended up being the highest mark, right? I ended up
Oh,
getting highest mark in audit, and the other subjects were not really went well for me. So I mean, things is will never go according to your expectation, particularly in say final. But yeah, obviously theory subjects can also be a game changer for you. So take it really seriously.
So as you mentioned, like the things might go in another way, like what you were expecting or like what everyone can expect. So like what were the subjects like in which you were pretty sure like you will be scoring maybe a 75 plus, but you ended up a bit lower marks, or like what were the surprising subjects in which like you were thinking a bit like you can only score like a near to exemption, but you end up like in a scoring in the 80s. So like is that any subjects that came into your like results?
Yeah, I mean, it happens with most of the CA finalists, and I was no different case. For me, I mean, FR and SFM was that example for me. I mean, SFM was a subject I was really confident on because I'm also pursuing CFA. I also cleared L1, and I was really confident on my concepts as far as SFM is concerned. I mean, I used to solve the SFM questions very naturally, and it used to come very naturally. But I mean, I don't know what happened. I was also expecting 70 plus in my SFM paper, but maybe yeah, there would be some silly mistakes or anything like that that ended up me, giving just 59 marks in SFM. But yeah, I mean, I was expecting really good marks in that subject. But again, I mean, you never know, right? How the checking is and what silly mistakes you ended up making. So yeah, SFM was one subject, and also FR was another example of this. I mean. As FR, FR also had prepared very religiously. I just, but due to my health issues, I was not able to, allot the proper timing. I mean, normally people give 4 to 5 days for the FR paper because it is your first paper and it is also a confidence booster. But due to my health issues, I was just able to give 2.5 days to the FR preparation. So due to that, I had to leave 2 to 3 Indias. I had just left. I had left 3 Indias. I reckon India's 108 operating segment, India's 41 agriculture, and one another India's 24 related party. So if you see, these are really C category of India's. I mean, in a normal exam, it would hardly weight around 10 marks. But this time, yeah, I mean, institute played. I mean, with this I mean, I mean,
Institute has a
16 marks question was asked for India's 108, right? I mean,
institute has always have a like it always gives you a googly in an exam. It might be like one exam in maybe in the first group, and another exam will be in the second group. So every exam, every sub like in one of the subject, it will play a googly. That is for sure. That is ICI.
yeah, they cornered. I mean, just really this from these 3 Indias, which is, I mean, obviously most of the people leaves it, right? And this time they
Yeah,
asked
yeah.
around 30 marks from these
Oh,
Indias, right? And I just literally left it and I had not even saw it. So I mean, 30 marks buffer was already created for me, FR, and from that point, I mean, my confidence was also really on a downside. So FR and SFM, really, I was really hoping to score really well, but I mean, it didn't went well. So
okay. So as you also mentioned, like, and even I also believe like institute can play anytime, can give you a googly. So if we are studying a CA curriculum, so like divide our topics in a ABC analysis, and we only focus on category A and category B, and we left category C. So like, what is your take? Like, if you like you have a chance, like if you don't have like have a time crunch, and like you have prepared A and B, but whether you will go for another revision for a A or B category, or you will go for a C category, or you might be like going again for a A or B category, like which are very important from an exam point of view.
yeah, very nice question. I mean, it happens, right? We always hear that in CA final preparation, try to cover maximum syllabus possible, right? But I mean, as the exam approaches, right? I mean, we always fell short of time, and obviously, people, ended up in ABC categories. So, as you said, right? I am a risk taker. I used to take a lot of risk, and considering your question, I would really go by A and B category. And again, if time permit, I would revise rather A and B category. And C category is something that I mean we should leave in the topics in C categories which are very general or normalized, and you can attempt it, right? Even if you don't go through the concepts before the exam days. So I mean, obviously, it is really important to focus more on the important things rather than wasting time or energy on things which has really low weightage and probability. Obviously, if your luck is on a low side, you will face those questions from C categories. But if you consider a normal case, I mean, going through A and B category would be a greater option. But yeah, I think it depends on a person to person or is
Okay.
time taken for covering the things out.
Absolutely, absolutely true. So you also mentioned about your CFA, like you have cleared your L1 exams, and I also like based on your profile, so you have interned in a debt financing as a profile. So it's a very unconventional to a students like students who are going for an internship, maybe go for a taxation or maybe for auditing. So how did you like how do you get a idea about like a debt financing is a one thing that we can explore a bit more, and like how was your experience during your internship articleship?
So I mean, in my family, there are really no one who is a chartered accountant, or even I mean, I was not having any good guiding light, particularly for me, who can guide me properly on what all areas I need to I need to focus on during my articleship. So for me, articleship was all about exploring as much possibility. I mean, as much areas that the CA work as possible. So yeah, I mean, I had also started with a role in audit and taxation, but then I had taken transfer to this firm, Kumbat, where I had got the chance to work on the debt financing. So yeah, I mean, project financing is a domain where normally the articles are not given that too much of opportunity because the deal numbers is pretty much larger to give the work to the articles. So yeah, but I mean, I was able to make through the profile. I mean, yeah, the rank in the IPCC really helped, and also I had a good reference. So yeah, I mean, the I was a member of a corporate group team in my firm there, who was handling the debt proposals ranging from 50 crores to 500 crores.
Oh,
So I mean, I was working with my a team leader and associate, to close the deals of bank financing on behalf of our clients looking to setting up any manufacturing plant, or trying to extend their working capital limits and that all things. So I mean, yeah, it was a really good experience. I had an opportunity to work on debt syndication projects where 3 to 4 banks come together to fund a really large
okay.
debt deal. So it was a really good role and also a non-traditional CA role that I had a good fortune to work for.
So as far as I know, like these roles are very intense and requires like a lot of hours, man hours when we need to be there in a articleship firm. So like how did you manage this very intense articleship and also preparing for CA finals? So how did you manage both of the things, and like how many months you have given for dedicatedly for CA final exam preparation?
Yeah, the role was really demanding. I mean, in terms of the working hours, I mean, at times I had just, I had stopped, attending my CA final classes.
Oh,
Yeah, it has also created a good amount of backlog. But yeah, I mean, I had prepared for my CA finals by for 7 months. Right, I had 7 months to prepare for my CA finals, and in that period, I was also having a backlog to clear first. So first 3 months went on clearing my backlog due to being irregular in my coaching, because I was focusing back then in my articleship because I was finding it quite interesting, the projects that I was working on. So yeah, I mean, it had also created a backlog, but then I had cleared the backlog and I was having 3.5 months to revise the things. And also it was quite fresh that I had just studied and it was just about revising things. So in the 7 months period, I was able to prepare well for my CA final preparation.
Perfect, perfect. So like you give dedicated 7 months. 1G. So, so like as a C, like a CA final, like have a the students have a tendency like okay, you have got in a rank, so you were studying like around maybe 18 hours or 19 hours or maybe so many of hours. So like maybe if you can tell how many hours you were studying like before 1 month before the exam. To be very honest, what was like a number of like if it turns into a number of hours, a herd mentality. Okay, this person is studying for so many hours, and because of this reason, you have got a rank. So what was your scenario actually?
I mean, to be very frank, I never used to track my number of hours that I used to study. But yeah, I mean, if I can say, I was able to, I mean, it used to vary, I mean, from month to month, but initially I was able to, study for 8 to 10 hours productively. And I don't think, I mean, studying more than 12 hours is really sustainable for most of the normal student. But for me, I was able to, able to study for 8 to 10 hours productively till the first 5 months. And yeah, I mean, during the last month, for me, particularly due to health reasons, I was not able to study more than 6 hours. But I mean,
Okay.
yeah, I mean, it depends, right? I mean, in a normal case, studying, if you are able to, take out 8 to 10 hours of effective studies, that is also sustainable and at the same time quite relaxing also. So I don't think studying really long hours is something that is the only factor that can give you rank. You need to, study smart, study consistently, and have some good discipline. And these are the factors that is more than that. I mean, for particularly for CA final.
Yeah, yeah. So like you took coaching for all the subjects, like for the 8 subjects, or there were few subjects you have prepared on a self basis and few only for the few subjects you took a coaching.
So yeah, I'd taken coaching for all the subject.
Okay.
Actually, I did my coaching from Ravi Chaucharia's institute here in Surat, which is an offline coaching institute, and all the 8 subjects are taught under the same roof, right? So
Oh,
I taken coaching for all the 8 subjects, but I mean, due to my articleship working, I was not really regular in my coaching. And I mean, the time I started the self study, I mean, the 7 months period, I had a great amount of backlog. I mean, during that time, audit was almost untouched, and again, corporate law was again untouched. DT was also
oh,
not covered. So I mean, mostly I prepared self, and for some of the subject which I had, attended classes early during my articleship, I had revised those. But yeah, I mean, if I could say, 4 subjects I did by self, and the other subjects were from my coaching's preparation.
question. Earlier, what it used to be, the thing was you can solve ICI modules. You can refer if you have done a coaching, so you can solve their materials, and maybe more focus should be on ICI materials. And you can at the last you have a last day revision notes and books, and you ICI also issues a RTP revision test papers. Nowadays, there is a trend for a mock test, like giving a mock test. So like. Is there any do you have did you purchase a mock test series or like a mock test, like how many mock tests you gave or whether you gave or not, if you can brief it out?
Yeah, I mean, mock test is a no-brainer, right? I mean, mock test do really help in your final preparation. I mean, it helps to convert your learnings into a tangible marks. I mean, just rote learning won't fetch you marks, right? You need to develop that mindset of really applying your knowledge and, working on your presentation skills. So yeah, I did write some of the mock test in the initial 5 months period. But again, I mean, I had the full paper test scheduled during the last month before my exam. But again, due to that health issue, I was not able to really write the papers that I was, targeting. But yeah, I mean, mock test is something that always helps, right? I mean, but it again differs from person to person. Someone, focus on covering their syllabus first rather than writing the papers, or someone, have the tendency to prepare on the basis of paper writing only. They just, will prepare for the paper they have scheduled for, and on that basis their entire preparation relies. And someone, again, as I said, that focus on covering the maximum syllabus possible rather than wasting time on writing paper. So one advice that I really would like to give to any aspirant, final aspirant, is that even if you are not writing paper, but as we know that FR is the first paper, which is, I mean, everybody knows how to solve the questions, right? But I mean, lengthiness of the paper is something that everybody struggles with. So for that paper, I mean, just one day before the FR paper, you could try to, write one full paper of FR. So it will just develop your writing practice, and at the same time it will also build your mindset, right, to solving questions really fast. So this is one thing that can really help if you are not even writing the mock test. But yeah, if you are writing the mock test, that is the best. But if you're not, then this is also a good option to go with.
Great, great, and I think so it will really help future aspirants as well. Nowadays, like there's a mix of MCQ questions and subjective questions as well. So, like, do you have like why like you have any strategies planned in your mind regarding, okay, I will just go and quickly solve in a 10 or 15 minutes only MCQ questions, then I will shift to the subjective ones, or maybe I will start with theoretical questions, subjective ones, and then I will move to the MCQ, or I will be juggling between the two, or like what was your strategy particularly with regard to MCQ and the theoretical subjective questions?
Yeah, I mean, it is a really big debatable point. I mean, how to really approach the MCQs, it differs. Again, it differs from person to person. But personally, I used to take MCQs in between the exam, right? I used to start with the descriptive questions first, because we get, I mean, during the first 15 minutes of our reading time, we don't get the MCQ booklet.
Yeah,
So I used to utilize that 15 minutes by, going through the entire paper, just to have an idea about the level of difficulty, and also to, plan my sequence of attempting the questions. So first 15 minutes, I just used to, went through the entire paper, because, and I also don't, used to, I mean, keep on reading one or two questions, because I believe that, again, I mean, while attempting the question, we have to again go through the question. So better to go through the entire paper, and then, when attempting the questions again, reading the question in detail. So yeah, I mean, just after the first 15 minutes of going through the entire paper, as soon as I used to get answer sheet, I start with the first the most confident question that I would believe would I will complete in a, I mean, less time, and also quickly. So I used to start with my best answer, and then attempting three questions of 20 marks each. So after attempting around 60% of the paper, I used to switch to MCQs, right? Because by that time your mind is also really active, and also it gets really easy, right, to tackle the MCQs then, because you are already running fast, and your mind is also quite quick at that time. So I used to take MCQs after, completing 50 to 60% of my paper. And then after MCQs, I mean, I used to keep to the two questions which I am less confident at last. So first, again, the questions that I'm confident on, then MCQs, and then the questions that I'm, less confident on. So this was
oh,
the sequence I used to follow.
great, great. Thank you for sharing, Fenel. So, thank you for all these questions. Like, I really appreciate your time, and I think so. Like, this will also help the aspirants out there who will be watching this video. Like, now moving on, like, what is your plan of action? Moving ahead, like, you have been in the like you have done your CFA L1 also cleared, and you have interned in a debt financing. So which industry you are more inclined to? You again want to move towards the project finance, or maybe you want to try a bit more other things, or maybe a corporate finance? Like, what are the key areas that you are sticking now?
Yeah, I mean, I'm really passionate about finance, right? I want to get into a core finance job. particularly if I'm able to make into investment banking, that would be a great option. But if not, I'm also open to wealth management services. In the long term, I'm planning to offer portfolio management services to my clients. So these are the two domains that I'm initially targeting. But let's see, right? I mean, I know it is not going to happen what I'm planning, but yeah, at times I'm planning for these two domains.
Okay, okay, great, Fanel. Thank you for sharing your strategies and the secrets that helped you to clearing with the All India rank both in the finals and the intermediate level. I hope like audience who will be watching this video really will get some help while preparing for their exams, maybe in the November 23 or any of the future attempts. I really, yeah, it was like really a great honor to have you on the house and like thank you for finding a time. Yeah,
Yeah, thanks a lot, Mayank. Thanks a lot. It was an ultimate honor, right, to have you.